The problem with that, religions created an idea of what God was. Now, the other part of that, aliens, after they destroyed Atlantis, created images. Those images mankind accepted in our now phrase word God. But in those days, they were called deities. Hinduism was the first religion on this planet. Before that, it was animalism and praying and worshiping animals and things like that. They didn't have anything else to deal with. Well, I hope you understand that we didn't come from a monkey. If you do, I'm sorry you believe that, but that's your choice. We each have to grow and learn. I mean, you could start wherever you want, and if that's where you want to start, that's fine. But there's all through my childhood, the word missing link was always there. So we never understood the separation between the two. Meaning, okay, we came to this point, and then suddenly we were this. So they called it the missing link. Well, because there was no connection between the two. We didn't come from cavemen. We weren't the same race of beings. The same as the giants that were here. They were not the same race as we were. So science is trying to prove multiple things. I mean, I just watched a special, and you would believe after all the specials over the past 10 years of all these giant skeletons and everything else, they're proving that giants exist. Special last night said no such thing anywhere. Everything was faked. Everything's not real. So when they just downplay it, that's true. I mean, even the book in the Bible that talks about it, the book that was taken out, the book of Enoch, talks about giants. Whether they were real or not, it doesn't matter to your spiritual growth. It's not going to help you grow any more faster by believing in them or not believing in them. The same as ancient history will not help you attain realization. And the first realization you need to attain is self-realization. And what it means, I don't care what dictionary says, it means understanding what you are as soul in this reality. Not when you die or anything else. It's this reality that you're in. The second phase of that is called God realization. That's when you can understand how God works with all soul. But both of them are pretty far from the average person. And I'm not using this word as a frame of ego or saying I attained it and you didn't. But it's something every soul needs to go through and learn. And if you attain self-realization, great. If you attain God realization, that's even better. But how do you prove it to yourself and how do you know? Well, as we go through the steps of these inner worlds and everything else getting closer to God, you'll find out. Because the numbers prove that most people are not spiritual. And when I mean numbers, Christianity has roughly 2.4 billion people. And they're all dead set in their belief. I mean, there's about 500 different branches of it, but they all believe the basic concept of the idea. Then you take Muslims. They're 2.1, 2.2 billion in the world. So look at the percentage of people that are already locked into a teaching, a belief system. That system has been a program for a long period of time. Now, Hinduism is a little bit different because it is based on supposedly deities they work with. Now, I'll say this. Deities, the word deity, what they are is real. I mean, mankind, it's even the same as the Ten Commandments, but in Hinduism, they created all these statues of the deities. In Christianity, you can't create a statue of God of any form. So there's a big separation right there. But Hinduism was dealing with these beings that they call gods. They were called deities, but we call them gods now. But they're multiple arms, multiple heads, multiple bodies, half animal, half this, and all that. So how real are they? They're all real to different levels of awareness when you start leaving your body. You'll meet with them as well. All right? Because they're real. They're not just somebody had a bad dream and created a whole idea of what they are. I mean, and real shortly, I had an experience. I spent 5 years dealing with the deity. When I was 6 till I was 11, I didn't know who it was until I was 25. I was with a Tibetan teacher of mine, master, and he says, well, you know who you're working with. And I said, what do you mean who I'm working with? I didn't know. I didn't know the word working with. I mean, I just knew this deity came to me, took me out, and brought me places, showed me things, taught me things. And it had nothing to do with planet Earth. All right, I'll get into that as we start getting into the word traveling. But the foundation has to be created. You can't build a house without a foundation. And you have to know where the limits are, how far you can go, what you need to build the foundation. After you have the foundation, you could start building your house. All right, when Jesus spoke about in his Father's mansion, there's many rooms. What is that house really? What does it consist of? I don't want to get into that yet, but it's beyond this level of awareness that most people have. And it's not a religion. Spiritual growth has nothing to do with religion, and it has nothing to do with being a spiritualist. I mean, it's awareness. There's two separate words. I know TJ won't use the same words I do, or maybe not agree with the words that I use either. But we each have our own truth, our truth that we experience, and what we believe we experience, what we want to believe we experience, and what we really experienced, really that did happen. Now, there's a big difference. Most people are living in a programmed idea. All right? And the new word in the UFO world, of course, is an experiencer. They can't prove anything that they experience, and it doesn't relate to any reality. All right? Except the reality they created with their thought. When we go back to who we are, why are we here? The first thing is to realize, all right, how much time do we have in this reality? Every soul can live anywhere from 1 year old to 125. I mean, and it's not, I won't say you're lucky if you live to 125, because if you do, you will probably have seen some of your children die, which is not a pleasurable thing, especially when you get older. So age isn't important to become spiritually aware. The second thing is an attachment to things that you think you're attached to, your family and things like that. When you age, you start aging, you start losing everything about yourself. Why am I bringing up the word aging? We age for a reason. All right. A lifetime, put it this way. You go to kindergarten for what, a year? You go to first grade for a year. You go to second grade for a year. You go to college for 3 years, 4 years. You can go 8 years. The time frame is what you're supposed to learn within that time frame. So 125 years for the average person. Somewhere in between that, they should learn what they need to take the next step in their life, when it means leaving the physical world to go into the astral plane. All right, that's the first step. But you're supposed to attain that awareness somehow, some way. And if you don't, you get another 125 years to do it again. And if you don't learn it then, you get another 125 years to do it again. But the problem is, most people, as soul, do not learn, or they don't remember. When you die, and you're letting go of this physical body, and you go to the astral plane, you stay there for a period of time, but then when you come back here, very few souls have any awareness of any of that. So in other words, you spent 125 years doing nothing, and you got to start over. Like I said, you got to stick your hand back. You got to stick your hand back in the fire to know that it's hot. All right? So that point is where you actually have to start all over. All right? Meaning, going through the same things when you were a little child. And now what makes it even harder, since man has become more corrupted, more programmed, the ideas and thoughts are so far from the truth of reality, being pulled into the delusion and the illusionary reality that people want to live in. Okay, now you can take Buddhist teaching and say this is all a dream and it's all imaginary. And if you want to believe that, you can live in that state, but at the same point, if that's all it is, you can change it and make it anything you want. All right? But see, again, it's all on your awareness. If you're not aware of God, you're not going to be able to incorporate that into what you create, which I'll tell you straight out right now, will not allow you to go into the higher worlds of God. If you can't create the right things, why would God want you to move into its realities, or its higher realities rather than the lower ones? Earth, I call hell, and then the astral planes, the next realm. But they're the lowest level soul can go. This is hell. It wasn't like soul was somewhere else burning and then you jump into that fire. This is it. And when you leave this world, you're stepping out of it. Even when you go to the astral plane for a short period of time, you're out of this realm. Very few souls to get to stay there, and there's a simple way to get to stay there. The word that you have to deal with in this physical reality is called karma. Hinduism had it right. It's the most important word that you have to deal with. Because if you stop creating karma, it allows awareness to happen and unfold. You create more karma, it slows the process of awareness to grow. And when you start growing, you let go of the negative side, dark side, and move into the light. But people's ideas with freedom don't understand what the word freedom means and abuses that word as well. We're all free. No, we will never be free. Ever. Oh, well, I want to be free. Well, go into the bliss state, stay in the light and sound, don't take on a consciousness of who you are, and just be that. You'll be free. Be free to be a vibrating ball of light, and that's it. Never to do anything else again. If that's what you want to attain, that's one step. It's the first step that Buddha taught. If you want to go into that, that's fine, but there's steps beyond that. And if you understand that you have angels, deities working with you, if you're aware and open up to them, they can teach you all the things you need to know in those other realms. 32 psychic abilities were created on the astral plane. They were brought here in Atlantis, and they were used wisely. When alien races came here, that's what they changed about us. They took our abilities away after they destroyed Atlantis, the ones that stayed here, and programmed into the horrible things like killing and abuse and all those kind of words, which we didn't have. So it wasn't God's fault, and it wasn't really man's fault, but man has taken that. Instead of breaking away from it, it's absorbing it and using it. Everything we create today is taking us further and further away from any aspect of understanding a true God. Sorry, people, it's not bringing us closer. Building spaceships, building submarines, building wireless phones isn't helping us connect. You're not going to call God up and say, hey, I got a new cell phone. I got 10G. I could talk to you now. 10 levels of God, so I could talk to God at the 10th level. No, it's not going to be like that, and it never will be. Science can only deal with a physical reality. When a proton, neutron, and electron, magnetic energy, Earth's gravitational energy, it's all in the physical reality, and it's a dense vibration. Each realm, when we get into the realms where soul moves into, become lighter and less dense. So the solidest form means physical. The astral form means the astral body, and you can see that as well. But it's not solid. You can't chop it in half. You can't shoot it and all those kind of things. So the solidness changes. And to describe it before we get into any details, it becomes much closer to a real light beam. Shine a light. See, go across the room, try to hurt it, destroy it, stab it, burn it. Can't do anything to it. So imagine that idea of not being able to be destroyed in any way. It changes everything. So there's so many things that we are working on at the same time in this lifetime. We are being pushed and shoved with the things that take our attention off of it. All right. Now, where do we start? Well, I'm helping you build a foundation. How much time are you going to put into becoming aware? Every minute, every day, every second? Where do you want to start? How much are you willing to put into it? Obviously, like anything else, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. The difference between the word put into it and pushing into it is two separate. You can't push. All right, say the door opens into your house and you're inside the house trying to go out. You can't push on it to go out. You have to open the door in. So if you're pushing on a door, it will never open. And they always say, give the space to the door to allow it to open. And when you go into meditation, go into contemplation, when you go into doing a spiritual exercise, there's a lot of different words for that. Each one has a different content. What's the proper word? Actually has a different meaning and form, and it creates a different outcome. If you meditate on nothingness and go into nothingness, you attain nothingness. All right. If you go into meditation and focus on something, you'll get into